Hi everyone. I'm a bit nervous, so bear with me. Okay, so let me just work out how to use this again. So, yeah, lovely. Okay. So, okay, mine's going to sound very earnest compared to all of these amazing speakers, but I'll do my best. I've been working as a film director since 2008, creating short films, fashion films, music videos, and commercials. Over the years, I've had the chance to work with some incredible musicians and brands such as Nena Cherry, Lady Gaga, Nike, and Chloe. As well as my filmmaking practice, I also work as a fashion film research fellow at London College of Fashion, where I'm exploring this new genre of film as it develops through both theory and practice. I've also been working as a film curator and programmer for as long as I've been making films, collaborating closely with the British Council, the British Fashion Council, and Bird's Eye View Film Festival. As part of my research at LCF, I'm currently creating my first feature-length documentary about the Northern Irish abortion laws through the aesthetics of protest and female activism. So that's my intro. Get to it. There you go. To myself. My work in the area of fashion film started in 2007. This is a bit of a smattering of what I've been at. Back then, it was a genre in its infancy, and to some degree, in many ways, still is. When making my first films, I worked with models and tried to create imagery using my understanding of fashion, but in new and interesting time-based visual ways. Whilst I was initially excited making this new type of work, I very quickly became more and more uncomfortable with the passivity of the models I was shooting and even the direction I was giving them myself. I had a few light bulb moments whilst on set during this period. I began to feel that this style of filmmaking was very restrictive and felt conflicted about the type of work I was churning out, i.e. aesthetically driven short films without any real critical thought processes behind them. Looking back, I suppose I was preconditioned to thinking that the accepted fashion image that I'd been exposed to my whole life was what I had to work with as a filmmaker. Due to this conflict about my work, I decided to go back and study for a master's at the Royal College of Art in 2009. This was a really fruitful time as I started to think about the sheer potency and power of film and how I could create messages and communicate to an audience through my work. I also realized the power of the fashion image and how to actually combine work that could, the fashion image is amazing because it draws people in with the visual, but I really wanted to pack a punch with a strong message whilst I had their attention, and these two combined seemed like a really good way to go. Shortly after graduating, I began to work with lots of brands. One of the first commissions I received was from Selfridges. I worked with the brand for a few years as a freelance director and realized really quickly that our ethos and approach to creativity aligned. My early film projects with them covered subjects such as modern beauty ideals in the UK and even a film about the need for more visible female role models in the workplace. These early projects have led to an amazing partnership between the Selfridges creative direction team and I, and this partnership's been pretty constant for the past 4 years and has led me working now in-house with the brand and all their film content. Within this role, I direct most of their film campaigns and also commission out other filmmakers. It's been a really amazing thing to have happened. So the projects I'm going to look at tonight and the films I'm going to show you this evening are 2 from Selfridges and 2 that I'm really proud of. There's lots that I'm not so much, but these 2 are ones that I'm happy with. The first one I'm going to show you is one of the biggest ones I've had the chance to work on and was made in direct response to an initiative they launched last year called Agender. And Agender was a fairly large concept space within the store that sold only genderless clothing and was a celebration of fashion without definition. It was a big concept to respond to as a filmmaker and one I was very keen to get right. I decided that I wanted to create a musically driven response as I felt, and I do feel that musicians have always used fashion to explore gender fluidity in very progressive ways, going right back to Mick Jagger and the famous white dress in Hyde Park in 1969. The creative team and I carefully considered the choice of musicians whom we felt filled the brief to come up with a track that would really celebrate non-binary dressing. As a result, we ended up commissioning Dev Hynes, aka Blood Orange, and the original Buffalo woman herself, Nena Cherry. We wanted to create a celebratory, diverse and contemporary film, so I invited fellow director Alex Turvey to come on board and co-direct the film with me, as I wanted our gender-specific perceptions to jointly fuse and create a film that celebrated non-binary fashion in a striking and celebratory way. We had a lot of incredible creative people involved in the making of this film, so it was quite a process in stitching it all together. I wasn't sure if the whole thing was going to work at all, right up until we delivered it on the 11th hour, as there were so many elements that were kept in the air at once throughout the whole couple of months production process. We were lucky to have the American choreographer Ryan Heffington come on board straight after he directed the FKI Twigs Roundhouse shows here in London. And he was amazing and brought a lot of these incredible young London progressive dancers with him from that show, so that was amazing. And most exciting for us was casting our lead female protagonist. We cast Harry Neff, the transgender model and actress, to lead the large cast. The casting for this film was also incredibly important, as we wanted to feature people who felt a certain affinity with the brief and identified with genderless ways of dressing. Therefore, the final lineup was an eclectic mix of our friends, dancers, and shop floor staff from Selfridges, if I can get to this, you're here. The shoot itself was nothing short of wild, as we decided to create the whole performance in one take. It was an exhilarating white knuckle ride from start to finish, and I'm going to play it now.
Attention, retention, invention, application, one nation. No trepidation.
Great. So as an image maker, I've become very sick of the whiteness of fashion and the thinness of fashion, of the fashion image, and working with a brand like Selfridges has enabled me to explore a much wider spectrum of casting options. Diversity is incredibly important to me with casting. That is representations of the real, which I personally find much more attractive and aesthetically pleasing than the traditionally photoshopped fashion body. So I'm in a position now where I find some commissions really quite difficult unless they come from progressive brands, and I just don't think it's good enough to ignore damaging representations of both women and men in the media in 2016. The fashion industry does need to take responsibility for the imagery it puts out there, as do the advertising and music video worlds. I personally love real people. I love how they look. I'm super interested in their stories and what they've got to say. I also love aesthetics and art direction, so try to create beautiful spaces for them to appear in, but really as themselves, and that's really important to me. As an image maker, I feel a huge responsibility to be super conscious and considered with what I send out into the world and who it might affect, and it feels really lazy not to be in this day and age. So my latest film, and the film I'm going to end with tonight, is a short documentary called Incredible Machines that came out about a month ago. And again, for Selfridges, I decided to make a film about women's relationship to their underwear, as from talking about it with female friends and colleagues, I quickly realised what a vastly complex and personal subject it is. Contemporary notions of underwear have been largely formed by the male gaze, with sexualized advertising often showing women in post-orgasmic states, looking beautiful and breathless in impossible designs. This certainly isn't how I feel when I'm trying to wriggle into my own pants in the mornings, so I decided to look at this in this film. I wanted to go out making a film that really challenged these perceptions of how we engage with underwear, and also wanted to hear what a really diverse and interesting bunch of women had to say about it. To reflect a good spectrum of women and their stories, the casting again became very important. The cast in this film were chosen for mostly for their unique perspectives, engaging characters, and the willingness to appear stripped back in their own underwear. I chose a really diverse cast, including Michelle Lamy, who's a creative collaborator, business partner, and muse of Rick Owens; Sharmadine Reid, who's the founder of Wa Nails; Naomi Shimada, who's a model and body activist; Charlie Craggs, who's a trans activist and founder of Nails Transphobia, and one of my ex-students; and Roxana Begum, who's a British Thai boxing champion and designer of sports hijabs for women. I was also really lucky with this film to work with another fantastic choreographer. This time it was Wayne McGregor from the Royal Ballet. He brought a real calm and confidence to the cast on the day. Anyway, I'm going to play it now. That's it from me this evening. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you. So here we go.
Men dream of women. Men look at women. Women watch themselves being looked at. Women constantly meet glances, reminding them of how they look or how they should look. Behind every glance is a judgment. Sometimes the glance they meet is their own.
I feel powerful, like a Ferrari, fast, furious, and strong.
I think trans women's bodies are often so sexualized. I don't dress to please other people, and I don't dress to please men. I dress to please myself.
I come from a family of 8 aunties. You know, I grew up with this very female, strong environment, which was all about looking and feeling good. Like, no one was ever negative.
We should treat our bodies kindly. They're actually incredible machines that do so many amazing things very well. And I think we take that for granted.
There is not like the body and the soul. It is one person. It's something you owe to yourself and to the world to make it as mobile and what you think is your way of being beautiful.
Face, abs,
Eyes,
Legs.
my mouth. When I had the baby, I was like, this body's created life. What have you done today?
For like 2 decades, I spent my life wearing the wrong gender's underwear, and I was so uncomfortable. I fought my battle, and I've won, and I'm wearing my glory.
I like to wear underwear that could be out of wear at any time. So what I wear for underwear now, so I take my t-shirt off and I'm at the gym.
Progress.
100%.
Tone.
Why is everyone scared of being like a size 14? Why is there still such like anxiety and shame attached to that?
My bum's always been quite flat for a black girl, so then it's like, oh, for a black girl, you haven't got a big bum. And it's like, you can't win. There's so many different things you have to tick off all the time, and it's like actually exhausting. So the only thing you can think is like, okay, what works for me?
I want the tokenism to be taken away. There just needs to be more of everything. That's the only way to truly diversify and create a new aesthetic. Like, why are we sticking to one aesthetic? Like, I'm bored. Everybody's bored.
We've come a long way, with Muslim women taking part in the Olympics, the sports hijab being accepted in the Olympics. I feel confident about what I wear when I'm performing and going out for fights. I feel that I'm ready for action and I'm ready for a bout.
It's a joy to have the body and shape. I was not thinking I will feel 20 when I'm 70. But I do.